Why did you start Dynamic El Dorado?
Right around the time that I started this place, I had sold a house and I was looking to invest that money into something. And the housing market was drying up. There were no real good real estate options to invest in. And this corner showed up on my radar. And I was thinking, okay, I've got this little corner, it's commercial. I could invest in it. It's a great area to invest in, but while I find a tenant for it, I could just have a couple shows here and there. And there was this lady that needed a space to teach a class, and she rented the space for a few months. And we started doing a couple shows, and I'm like, okay, you know, we got a little place to do some stuff. I took like an improv attitude to it, like let's see what offers come up, let's see what shows up, and I'll respond to that. I'll play along with that.
Did you have like an improv or comedy background prior to getting this place?
I've been a comedy nerd my whole life, and I had been taking improv classes. I had done some sketch. I have been in some house teams. I'm a fan of comedy. I like to study comedy and watch it. And
What's the best thing about the indie comedy scene in Atlanta?
There's so much talent, and there's so many abilities, so many possibilities, so many resources here, and they're untapped. And something that I'm trying to get accomplished here is to, can I say polish turds? I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna polish some turds, and I'm gonna polish some, pressurize some coal, and get some diamonds. There's no reason why somebody like me, who's deep in the scene of Atlanta comedy, doesn't know anybody at Cartoon Network. Or, you know, like, we shouldn't have people going to New York, to LA, to Chicago to work on comedy. We should have it right here.
One of the things that multiple people have said about the space, here anything goes. Any kind of show, comedies, improv, drag shows, like anybody and everybody is welcome to come here. Was that something that you did deliberately from the beginning?
Yeah. I want it to be for those who want to put the effort into it. Like, you have an idea, it's very much a improv point of view, an improv way of thinking, the way I've digested what has been taught of improv. I want people to come out and try stuff out, and maybe it works and maybe it doesn't. I don't care. I want to keep overheads low, and I want funny stuff to happen. I've had kayaks on stage. I've had people building desks and bookcases. So one of those. There was a Christmas show where people were doing a gingerbread house in the middle of the show. Yeah, we've got ideas, and don't tell me, show me. And maybe you fall flat on your face. Yeah. You could say it's from the start. It's because this is what I'm doing. I don't even know where I'm going with this. It's just happening, and I'm meeting the people who want to make things happen, and I want to help them, and that's the path I'll take.
Is there anything behind the name Dynamic El Dorado? Like, why that name?
First part's really simple. The name of the building is the Dynamic Metal Lofts. Second part, when I was a little kid, maybe you wanted to be kids. Other kids wanted to be actors or doctors or stuntmen or things like that. I wanted to own a hotel, and I had jobs for everybody in my family. I knew who I was going to place in the kitchen, on the front desk, admin. And that's because we used to visit this one hotel in Puerto Rico, El Dorado Beach. And, my father was a CPA. He would go there for meetings for accountants. And my grandfather would rent I'm not sure what he rented. It wasn't a room, it was like part of a cabana system. Like a house that had 4 units, he would rent 1 unit right there by the beach, and he'd do that a couple times a year. And I love that place. They'd just let me loose, and I'd run around, and I'd go through the tennis courts and the pools and the restaurants, and I knew where the loading docks were. There was just something so wonderful about it. My wife asked me, we were debating over what kind of name we should give it, and I thought, I always wanted to own a hotel based on El Dorado. But there's, El Dorado. There's movies, there's cars, there's a furniture store in Florida. So we needed to add the dynamic on top of that. Mm-hmm. So there it is.
I like that. For people who are putting on a show, why should they contact you to put on a show here? What does dynamic offer that other places might not offer?
Opportunity. I just don't know of any other place that allows you this level of freedom at this price point. I think it's a very convenient location. I want people to bring their special. And I want to help them make that happen. I want to have a place. People ask me if it's a theater, a studio, theater. I don't like calling it a theater. I don't like the drama that comes with a theater. I want to treat this as an incubator, as a place that, one of these maker spaces where they have all the tools and everything that you might need. And that's not just cameras and lights and things of that nature, but also I want to offer different classes. All the classes that are not offered anywhere else, that you might have to fly out to New York or LA. I want to be able to offer them here. I want you to bring me a carcass, and then I'll help you pull out the meat, and we'll make sausage together. That's what I want. Because maybe you don't have that special carving knife or that saw, that bone saw that you need. That's what I want to offer people. For everybody else, for the patrons, for the non-creators, for the consumers, for the people that we love and adore, I want to have them have an experience that they just can't get anywhere else, that they can't get with 3D TVs or VR glasses. I want a truly immersive experience. And, I want a little bit of those American Idol audition episodes where it might just be a bomb and you're not really laughing at the material, but you're laughing at the comedian. But at the same time, I want it to be a safe space for people to try stuff out. And maybe thicken up their skin a little bit, because it's going to be rough out there. And I don't know. I want people to develop comedy skills, to laugh, to learn how to make other people laugh, and to punch up, not to punch down, and have a social experience away from our phones and away from our computers and TVs. And
how are you using this space to create a community? Because I feel like that's something that's important to you.
Right, and that's a tricky question, because I'm very socially awkward, and I am learning that a lot of comedians are very socially awkward. I hope to. I hope to have a merry band of people that will laugh at my stupidity, and I want to laugh at their stupidity. And part of the spirit here is, if you know anything about the comedy community, the comedy world, like improvisers stick to their thing, stand-ups stick to their thing. Sketch, I'm not that familiar with. I guess that might be a little bit of a middle ground, but there's not a big sketch scene here in Atlanta. But I do want, to me, there's like a trinity in comedy, right? You have stand-up, you have sketch, and improv. And I'm not gonna say who's the Holy Spirit and who's the Father and all that. But you have a couple, you have some overlap, and I'm still working on those circles and diagrams and stuff. But there's some overlap between what you do by yourself or what you do in a group versus what's improvised and what is scripted. And I've taken classes in everything. Doesn't mean that I'm very good. But one thing has helped me figure out, okay, this idea that I have, that's better as a script, as perhaps a video or perhaps a stage production of a sketch. Some other jokes, some other concepts are better told. And some others, you just hope that they come up in improv, because that's the only way you'll be able to make them funny. But improv is fantastic to developing sketch, and by studying improv, I think it makes you a much better joke writer. It's not a theater. It's not a big place. It's less than 1,000 square feet that we have here, but I think it's fun sized. I think it's like a little sampler. Like if you're not too sure about something, shows are an hour. It's no better or worse than Mass if you're Catholic. And once that's over, boom, we've got something else happening 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later. A few years ago, there was a show called Dorado, and it was all solo sketch. And it was in the shed in the back of a big house on ponds. And I got invited, my instructor in my improv class invited us. She had to cut out of class early because she was going to go perform at the show. I felt I was part of the community by being invited there. And that was a show from comedians for other comedians. And I guarantee you, 80% of the population, of the general population, would not get it. But it was just brilliant. And if you got a little room full of comedians laughing, as a performer, as a comedian, there's just nothing better than that. Making the general population, there's lots of tricks, lots of things that you can do. But to get the old veterans and the new veterans and the people that know the craft and they know the inside story, man, to make those people laugh, that's such a great feeling.
If you're wondering if you're building a community, the answer to that is a resounding yes. And all you have to do is look at all the posters on the front of your building here, and all of those people are connected to all of the other people, and they're bringing people to this space. So the answer is you are absolutely building a community. Yeah.
I hope so. Yeah.